This is Donnie's story, where every betrayal hides a blueprint and every scar has a backstory. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. I'll drop you a like. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever trusted someone so deeply, so blindly, that when they betrayed you, it felt like the whole world cracked sideways? Like the person you thought you knew, the one who once held your heart, suddenly wore the face of a stranger. If you've been there, you know there's no instruction manual for that kind of heartbreak. So go ahead and call me a fool if you want, but this story needs to be told. I never imagined I'd be sitting across from a divorce attorney at 42, watching the woman I'd spent half my life with pretend she didn't remember the life we built together. But there I was, staring at Natasha, my wife of 16 years. As she blinked at documents she claimed not to recognize, joint accounts, shared investments, dreams woven through decades, all gone, according to her. Wiped clean, it began. 3 months earlier, with the quiet disappearance of $60,000 from our savings. At first, I thought it was a mistake, a transaction error. But when I brought it up to Natasha, she didn't get defensive, didn't panic. Instead, she just looked at the bank statement like it belonged to someone else. "I don't remember moving any money," she said calmly. "Are you sure this is our account?" At first I laughed, thought she was being sarcastic. This was the same woman who never forgot a single birthday, who remembered what wine our friends preferred, who color-coded our financial spreadsheets for fun. But over the next few days, things started to unravel. Her memory, that brilliant, photographic recall, started glitching like a scratched CD. She'd forget conversations from the night before, misplaced documents, stare at our wedding photos like she was trying to remember the faces of ghosts. When I suggested we see a neurologist, she agreed too quickly. That should have been my first warning, but instead of suspecting anything, I blamed myself. I thought maybe stress had finally caught up to her. Dr. Harrison was a seasoned professional, the kind of doctor you want when something's truly wrong. He ran every test under the sun. Mr. Is blood work, cognitive screenings. His conclusion? Dissociative amnesia, a rare psychological defense mechanism triggered by extreme emotional trauma. According to him, Natasha had lost access to most of her memories from the last 5 years. The mind sometimes protects itself by shutting the door on pain, he explained. The unfortunate part is that it often locks away good memories. Along with the bad, Natasha cried when she heard the diagnosis. I held her hand, riddled with guilt. I'd been doubting her, accusing her of theft, while she was battling a serious mental condition. So I became her anchor, her memory caretaker. I pulled out photo albums, recounted stories of our early years, reminded her of inside jokes, old vacations, forgotten promises. She smiled sometimes, thanked me often, but it was like I was talking to a polite stranger, not my wife. The warmth we once had was gone, replaced by quiet civility and vacant stares. Then, one morning, she sat across from me at the kitchen table and asked for a divorce. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I know this isn't fair to you, but I can't pretend to feel something I don't remember feeling. You deserve someone who can love you fully." I didn't have words, just a hole in my chest where her voice used to live. 2 months later, we were in mediation. I thought the process would be clean, if painful. We'd split everything evenly and go our separate ways. But when Natasha walked in with her attorney, a cold-eyed woman named Margaret Vance, the tone changed instantly. "Due to my client's documented medical condition," Margaret announced, "she cannot accurately recall financial decisions made during the marriage. Therefore, we request full disclosure of all assets and believe she is entitled to significant financial support based on her current limitations." I blinked. Wait, what? The woman who had single-handedly managed our finances, who had balanced our investment portfolio with surgical precision, was now claiming she couldn't remember how money worked? "I'm sorry," Natasha murmured, her eyes meeting mine across the table. "I wish I could help, but everything from the past few years, it's just gone." Her lawyer kept pushing. "They demanded the house, 70% of our savings, monthly alimony. All because Natasha supposedly couldn't remember what she contributed. My attorney, Robert Klein, was livid. "This is absurd," he muttered. "Even with amnesia, marital assets are split equally. This is manipulation, plain and simple." But the law doesn't deal in gut feelings. Dr. Harrison's diagnosis was sound, backed by tests and behavioral symptoms. If Natasha was acting, she'd fooled a veteran neurologist. Still, something didn't sit right with me. There were inconsistencies, glitches in her performance, comments she shouldn't have remembered, moments that felt too calculated. Shake the feeling that something darker was at play. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I installed a small hidden camera in our living room. I told myself it was to ease my doubts. But what I captured confirmed everything my gut had been screaming. The first recording. Natasha on the phone, discussing our investments with surgical precision. She named stocks, balances, interest rates. There was no confusion. No amnesia. Just a woman in total control. The second video was even worse. Natasha on her laptop, logging into hidden bank accounts I didn't know existed. Accounts under her maiden name. She transferred money with the speed and ease of someone who'd rehearsed every move. But the third clip, that was the one that broke me. I watched my wife standing in front of a mirror, coaching herself, practicing her confused expressions, repeating phrases like, "I don't remember," and "trauma can cause memory gaps." She even reminded herself to stay consistent with the 5-year timeline. It was like watching a stranger wear her skin. I gave the footage to Robert. For the first time since this nightmare began, I saw fire in his eyes. "This changes everything," he said. "We're talking about fraud, perjury, manipulation of medical professionals. She's not just losing the divorce, she might be facing charges." The final court date arrived in late November. Natasha walked in beside Margaret, wearing her fragile mask, all wide eyes and hesitant pauses. She took the stand and delivered, her lines flawlessly, painting herself as a victim of memory loss and trauma. Then Robert stood up and asked the judge's permission to present new evidence. When the judge agreed, we played the videos one by one. First, Natasha discussing our entire financial portfolio without hesitation. Then, her logging into secret accounts. Then the rehearsal tape, her voice clear, confident, calculating. By the time the third video ended, Natasha had stopped pretending. The mask was gone. "Just like that, double quotes, Mrs. Morrison," the judge said firmly. "Do you have any explanation for this footage?" Silence. Then something shifted in her expression. That foggy, vulnerable look disappeared, replaced by something sharp, unapologetic. She straightened in her chair. "I want to change my testimony," she said. Margaret tried to intervene, but Natasha pushed forward. "I remember everything. I always have. I fell out of love with him 3 years ago. I stayed because it was easier, more comfortable. But when I finally decided to leave, I wanted the best possible deal. This seemed like the smartest way." There it was. The truth, laid bare, raw and late. The judge held her in contempt and referred her to the district attorney for potential criminal charges. The divorce was finalized with a standard split, minus 50/50ths, plus penalties for fraud. She lost the house. Lost the alimony. Gained a criminal record. You'd think I'd feel victorious. But victory's a hollow thing when it comes at the cost of knowing the person you loved most turned out to be a stranger in disguise. 16 years of marriage, reduced to evidence. What still haunts me isn't the betrayal itself. It's how long she planned it. How many nights she lay beside me, whispering "I love you" while designing my downfall. How many mornings she kissed me goodbye, knowing she was building a prison from the pieces of my trust. These days, I'm starting over, slowly, carefully. I've learned that trust isn't a promise, it's a pattern. It's built in the small moments earned through consistency. I've learned that sometimes the most devastating betrayals come not from enemies, but from the people we once held closest. But I've also learned this. Truth may hide, but it never disappears. Lies crack under pressure. And no matter how airtight a mask may seem, it always slips eventually. If this story hit you like it hit me, if you've lived through anything even half as twisted, hit hit that subscribe button, because the most unbelievable stories are the ones that actually happened.